Alright guys, today I'm going to show you how to combine integers using counters. So counters we can use are like just a drawing to show us to kind of help reiterate what we learned yesterday about, or the previous lesson about drawing integers on a number line. So a zero pair is when you combine a positive with a negative. So a positive with a negative. They cancel each other out and the result is 0. So if we had one positive combined with a negative, they're going to cancel out. So these would cancel out to be 0. Think about money. If you have $1 but you spend the dollar, you have nothing. Or if you have $1 but you owe somebody $1, you have a debt, you're going to pay that debt and now you have 0 money. So what we're going to show is how to model this, so you have a couple of examples to show you that. Now remember, like we talked about with subtraction, if you see subtraction, we need to rewrite the problem. Add a line and change the next sign. So let's go ahead and look at a couple of examples to kind of help us out. Just get that a little more adjusted for you right there. So the first one says -3 take away 6 negatives. So I'm going to use the negatives as my red. So if I draw 3 negatives, 1, 2, 3 negatives. You can see with this picture, if I have 3 negatives, can I physically take away 6 negatives? And hopefully you said no, so we see subtraction, so we add a line, change the next sign. So this is now really -3 plus 6. So that tells me to first put 3 negatives on my board, and now I have 6 positives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when I do this, I want to line up my integer counters together because I want to create the 0 pair. So positive and negative cancel out. Positive and negative make 0, 0 pair. Positive and negative cancel out. And by doing this, I can physically see what's on the board is my answer. There are 3, and I already know the sign. There are 3 positives. And if you want to reiterate that to remember what we did yesterday, if I went 3 to the left on the number line and 6 to the right, I would land at +3. So drawing them this way and canceling out with our 0 pairs, it will not only tell you what your answer is, but the sign. Now again, +3 is the same thing as just saying 3, so either one of those is correct. But if it was a negative, we would have to write that negative sign. So just want to get you guys in the habit of remembering about that sign of the numbers. So let's keep going. We have 5. So if there's no sign in front of the number, that's a +5. So I'm going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And how this is written is +5 minus 6. So if you have 5 positives, can you take away 6 positives? So nope, we only have 5 positives to take away. So we're going to see subtraction, so we add a line, change the next sign. So subtracting is the same thing as adding the opposite. So that's now 5 minus 6 becomes adding a -6. And again, this helps you to say you're combining 6 negatives with that 5 positives. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, we're going to line them to make a 0 pair. A pair is of 2, so here's my pair. To make a 0, positive and negative, positive and negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. And what we see left over, we see one integer chip, but it's a -1. So you have to put that negative sign. If this were a question on an assignment or a test, I bet +1 would be a trick answer for this, and -3 would be a trick answer for this. So you want to make sure that you draw your pictures. Again, think about this, how we rewrote this. If I started at 0 on a number line and went 5 to the right, and from there went 6 to the left, I would land at -1. So we're showing you more than one strategy, so that way you can use what works best for you. All right, let's try a couple more. -1 minus -5. Well, as soon as I see subtraction, I add a line, change the next sign. So this is -1 plus +5. Subtracting is adding the opposite every single time. So we have one negative, so I'm going to draw one negative to the board, and I'm going to add to my drawing 5 positives. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, I'm going to line up to make my 0 pairs. And I see 1, 2, 3, 4 positives left over. So you could just write 4, or if you want to get in the habit of write the positive in front, that works too. All right, 6 minus -2. Oh, just reiterate over here. If we had one negative, the way this was written, I couldn't take away 5 negatives originally because I only had one negative on the board. So that's why with subtraction, every time, rewrite. Subtracting is actually adding the opposite. So now I'm going to start with 6 positives, so that's what I'm going to draw first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the way this is written, could I take away 2 negatives? Nope, because I only have positives there. So I see subtraction, so add a line, change the next sign. So this is now 6 minus -2 is the same thing as adding the opposite, which is a +2. And so how we're going to do that is I'm just going to draw a line to separate that and say now I have 2 more positives. There are no 0 pairs on this one because these were all positive. So this answer is going to be 8. Let me use my blue color because I was using that for my answers. Again, think about that vertical number line on this one to help you out that we talked about. If you're at 6 and you're finding the difference between that -2, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, -2, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 steps between. Okay, that's why I showed you that vertical number line. All right, let's try 2 more and get you guys ready for your assignment. All right, 3 plus 3. Now some of you are like, really? I know that is. But you'd be surprised how many people forget those integer rules real quick and try to make 0 pairs. So let's just prove it with the math and prove it with the picture. 3 positives, 1, 2, 3, and 3 more positives. So what we're going to do now, this blue line represents, this was my first integer, and whatever's to the right of it is my second integer if they're the same sign. So if somebody showed you a picture like this and said, what does this represent? It represents 6 plus 2 or 6 minus -2, which is the same thing as 6 plus +2. So 1, 2, 3. There are no 0 pairs, and as you already know, 3 plus 3 is 6 or +6. Again, you don't have to put the positive sign in front, but you do have to put the negative. So I'm just putting that there so I remember. All right, last one. I have 4 negatives that I'm going to draw. So I draw 4 negatives first. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to add -4. So because I already have negatives, and I'm going to add more negatives, I'm going to draw that representation. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are no 0 pairs, so nothing cancels out. So you just count what you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But it's not just 8. If you just write that, you're going to fall for the trick answer. They are negative, so you have to put that negative sign. Again, you can think about the number line. 4 to the left, and another group of 4 to the left, you're going to land at -8. So again, you can draw these out as well as use your number line to help you out with it.